program is brought to you in association with First National Bank of Botswana.
FNB, how can we help you?
Pew Research Center reports that there are about 1 million immigrants that arrive into the United States of America every year, most of whom are looking for better employment, business and other opportunities. In 2018, Canada welcomed well over 300,000 immigrants into the country. While the American dream is all that a lot of immigrants are after, is it what they wake up to? Take, for instance, the case of one of our guests, Lovie, a Motswana woman born as a middle child of 5 children in the village of Ramotswa. In 2011, Lovie left the corporate space to venture into entrepreneurship with her husband of Cuban descent. However, after a fairly successful run, they were met with financial hardships in 2016. It is then that they decided to uproot the family to New Jersey State, United States of America to seek better opportunities. Our other guest is Anwar Jefferies, a Motswana man born in Canada to a Motswana mother and a Grenadian father. His parents moved the family back to Botswana, where young Anwar attended his primary, junior and senior schooling at local private institutions. After passing his A-levels, his mother encouraged him to move back to Canada, where she believed Anwar had a better chance at succeeding. He's now based in Kitchener, Ontario, in Canada. Good evening and welcome to First Issues, proudly brought to you in association with First National Bank of Botswana. We engaged 2 individuals who went abroad seeking better opportunities for themselves and their families to talk about life of a Motswana immigrant.
It was not easy. While we arrived here, we still had to wait for 1 year, 1 day in order for us to submit a petition at the immigration. So at the end of the day, we still had to survive. We still had to sustain ourselves.
I suppose similar to most immigrants who move over to Canada, I got what is known as a temporary or temp worker. At the time, I started off sorting bottles at this brewery called Mill Street Brewery, and it was just long hours of just sorting bottles. That's just what it is. Nothing fantastic, nothing great, but paid minimum wage, helped get the bills paid.
As I did not have the documentation that permitted me to work, I had to do odd jobs. I still remember I worked in a shop that supplied windows and kitchen cabinets. I also did housekeeping as well as looking after a senior citizen. And to me, it was not only a challenge, but it used to be in my mind. I used to ask myself a whole lot of questions. Would I do the same if I was in my country?
This is the kind of job that most immigrants who come over here tend to find themselves in, and it's something that people have to get comfortable with, I suppose. Just knowing that when you come here, you're not gonna get the ideal job that you want. You may need to make ends meet just by working in a factory or in a temp agency, and these temp agencies take a cut of your hourly rate, or for every hour you work, they get $1 or $2 of what you would be paid. You actually never know how much they get. They just pay you the minimum wage typically.
Would you have taken those same jobs here in Botswana? And if not, why?
Would I have taken the same job there in Botswana? Probably not. Fact of the matter is, the pay here is way better in comparison to the standard of living. You can get by quite well at minimum wage, whereas in Botswana, it is hard to say. I actually worked as a mechanic in Lokwing for a while. And I can't say that the quality of life with respect to how much I was making minimum wage was comparable at all. Actually, it honestly wasn't. Would I take another job like that if I had to? It's very easy to find them over here. There are plenty of them.
I would never have taken those jobs in my country in Botswana. I would not even have dreamt of doing those jobs. Those type of jobs in Botswana are such low paying jobs that I wouldn't have sustained myself. I wouldn't have sustained my family. So it's a big no.
Okay, so how much of your resources have you had to put into your relocation?
Truth be told, I did not have any money. We were so down financially. But I have a great family. I have a sister and her husband. They actually sponsored my trip to USA. I also have a friend who also was part of the sponsor regarding the tickets, and that's how we ended up here in USA. We did not spend any of our money.
In my case, my mother actually flipped the bill for my plane ticket over to Canada. I had a little bit saved, but I was mostly lucky that I had family who lived over here, her friends from when she came to university here as well, that I could stay with and settle in. But what it came down to was hitting the ground running. From the word go, I got my job as soon as I could. I believe it was within the second week of me being here. And that meant that I started getting paid by the end of the first month that I was here. So by the end of the first month I was here, I was already making money, which really helped me settle down and fill in or find or be able to purchase what I needed when I got here. Some essential stuff, depending on when you come, stuff like winter coats, which are quite expensive. You can get by on a cheap one for one winter, but you will want to get some good quality winter clothes, some good quality winter boots, some good gear, and that stuff's not cheap. That stuff's expensive.
When running a business means
Where did I put that receipt?
we can help you with instant accounting, free software that does your bookkeeping for you. When running a business means
Wait, what do you mean the container hasn't arrived?
we help protect your business from risk with Mohwebi Insurance. And when it means
How do we pay our staff that don't have bank accounts?
we help you make multiple payments directly to people's phones with e-wallet bulk send. At FNB, we're constantly innovating to help business owners at every stage of their journey.
Welcome back to First Issues. Our guests this evening are Motswana immigrants Lovie and Anwar Jeffrey, who now reside in New Jersey State, United States of America, and Kitchener, Ontario, Canada, respectively, to continue on our discussion on the life of a Motswana immigrant. Can you share with us your most difficult, most challenging times that you've experienced on your journey?
Job hunting is probably the biggest challenge anyone would face when they come to Canada. Once you get here, it's highly likely that no one would actually know any of the companies on your resume, and none of them will probably exist in Canada. Hence, there'll be no reputation, or nobody will really trust you. It's pretty much the same as just coming up with names of companies, and nobody's going to take the time to do the due diligence to make sure these companies exist. They just want to see companies that they know, and those companies have to be, in North America or in Europe, or, just companies that they've seen before.
Well, the major encounter was having to part with my family. We have 2 older girls in Botswana, and I have 2 grandchildren, and in my life I have never ever separated from my kids. It was not easy. I almost got into a depression when I arrived here, more so that I was not there for my other child, my second born girl, the time of her pregnancy and the time she gave birth.
For most immigrants, probably don't have a lot of family, probably don't know a lot of people. You've got no one to vouch for you, and there's just no credibility, I suppose. So what you find is that all the skills that you may have had at home don't directly transfer over here. So what you need to do is find a way to get the same accreditations or the same certifications here that you would have back there. That is something that a lot of people have had to get comfortable with. If you're a doctor, you may have to do all your medical certifications again here in Canada. Find a way to convert them over from wherever you've been to the Canadian one. If you're an engineer, that's a bit of a tricky one. I suppose that really depends on what you're doing. But at the end of the day, you may have to do some more certifications or some more programs or more education just to transfer stuff over. And that's a bit of a challenge, I suppose, for most people right there.
The culture shock. It had such an impact on my daughter when we arrived here. You know, the change of having to readjust. I still remember there was a time I looked at her and I was thinking, should we take a U-turn? Should we go back to Botswana? She's a very bright, intelligent girl. And when we arrived here, I think those kids, because of their, culture, they just looked at her and undermined her as, one of those African girls coming from Africa and coming to the US, whereby in Africa they just don't have those privileges and opportunities. She was a little bit discouraged. I still remember one day they actually had questions for her. They wanted to find out if her country had currency. And she was like, wow, guys, how did I come here? I had to buy it. My parents had to buy tickets. We had to come to USA with the little money that we had in order to sustain ourselves until my parents were up on their feet. And they just could not believe it. They asked her if there was Wi-Fi, were there phones in Botswana. We could see that these kids, honestly, they are so lost. They do not know nothing about the outside world.
All things considered, and if you knew what you know now, and you had a whole do-over, would you still choose to immigrate?
Honestly, yes, I would. Coming here was a great opportunity for me to come and learn new things, learn new trades, master my craft, or at least try to master my craft, meet highly talented people from all over the world, and collaborate on some pretty cool projects. I've definitely become a better person, and I believe that if you can make it through that whole process, honestly, you can go on to do way bigger things.
Well, my answer is definitely yes. According to my observation, the current situation in my beloved country, Botswana, and that is lack of jobs. I'm talking about our kids. They are roaming in the streets with those degrees, with those masters, with those diplomas, with those certificates, and they do not have jobs. In America, it's different. Kids are taught to become entrepreneurs at a young age. I'm really so grateful with the systems here in the US.
In closing, what is your advice to other Botswana who wish to explore the possibilities and opportunities overseas?
Please do your research first before you leave Botswana. Do your homework. Make sure that wherever you are going, you know the background of the place. Search, Google, get the necessary information, make calls, and find out the type of people that you're going to be meeting or you're going to be liaising with. Because at the moment, you have to be open-minded about moving overseas. Anything could happen. It can be good, it can be bad.
Come prepared. Come prepared to fail on many occasions. Come prepared to feel alone. Come prepared to have to work hard and grind and just do things that you probably don't want to do. take those jobs that you don't enjoy.
Please check the contact numbers for Botswana Embassy or Botswana Consulate and let them know where you are going. Give them the address. As soon as you reach there, make sure you call the embassy to let them know that you've arrived and give them your details so that if anything happens, they can easily trace you, or your family can easily trace you through the embassy.
One thing I do recommend is it's very easy to seek comfort, I suppose, in people who are just the same, who are similar to you. I highly recommend that when you do come out this way, do push yourself out of your comfort zone. You'll already be really uncomfortable. You'll already be challenged quite a lot. But try to surround yourself with people from different backgrounds. Try to learn from everybody else's experiences. Broaden your mindset, the way you think, the way you approach challenges. Leverage everybody around you in order to become a better person.
If you made a decision to relocate, make sure that you don't fall into the wrong hands. I have heard of stories, I have read of articles whereby people registered themselves in agencies and only to find that those agencies were human traffickers. So please, people, before you decide to go and apply for your visa, do a thorough research, please. And if you make a decision to relocate and you get those opportunities, enjoy the momentum and enjoy everything that comes with it.
Don't stay in your bubble. Push past your bubble. Become better. Everybody can do this.